Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be bringing you a full review of the new Firewire TJ Twinzer. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, James Margetis. I'm 5'11" and roughly 180 pounds. The TJ Twinzer that I rode was the stock 7.0. Comes in at 7.0, 21 3/4 by 2 13/16 and 48.4 liters. Almost full 18 liters more than my standard shortboards, my high performance shortboards. The attributes of this board: it has a pretty full nose, full outline, kind of banana shaped outline, really curvy in the tail, nice curve up in the nose. The rocker is relatively flat, kind of planky. Not too keen on mid-lengths. This is my first real experience with a mid-length. I got on one before. It wasn't a popular model and I didn't really drive with it, so I never really got back on them. But I got on this, and this board is super fun. Carries width, so it's 2 inches more than what I would ride my standard shortboard in, and it's got a little bit more thickness to it. It's got this nice flat deck and then nice down rails. Kind of reminds me of a mashup with a little bit more curve in the rails. This is in the Firewire Helium construction. It's super light, and that was one of the first things that I noticed. As far as the bottom goes, it's a relatively flat bottom to V. The V starts probably right in here and carries all the way out the tail, and it's a pronounced V. And the real zinger of this board is that Twinzer fin setup. I rode it only as a Twinzer, did not try it any other way, but I rode it with the Stu Kenson designed Twinzer set that is designed for this board. This is a collaboration between Taylor Jensen and Stu Kenson, and I can't say enough good things about it, especially for typically riding performance shapes and getting on my first real mid-length. The performance is there 100%. This thing turns super well. So we'll dive into the good things about this board. First good thing that I noticed is that this board turns amazing. For being 7.0, I didn't really have high hopes. My first thoughts were to take it out on a bigger day. I thought if it was a big barreling down the line day, that with the length it would help with paddling and also help getting down the line and through sections. I didn't ride it on a huge day by any means. First day I rode it was probably chest high, a little bit smaller, but it was really hard offshore, and the board went really well. It went really good down the line. It was a little bit of getting used to. Kind of came out the back the first couple times trying to do turns. I don't know if it was a combination of the wind blowing me out or me just overshooting it with having a longer, more volume board. But even though I overshot it, I was able to come back in with this board. And then from that session on, every session I had with it just turns amazing. Turns super good. I would say it paddles well most of the time, and I'll touch more on that on the bad things about this board, but it paddles well a majority of the time. It paddles like you would expect a 7.0 to paddle with a ton of volume. I think that there's a very broad sweet spot with it. I notice myself sometimes standing up here, dropping back to do some turns, paddling it. I also felt myself sometimes more forward, sometimes more back, depending on the waves I was surfing. I think having a very broad sweet spot will cater to a lot of surfers out there. I think it's super versatile with the conditions you can surf it in. It paddles really well and it turns amazing. I think that covers the good things. The bad things about it: this was also one of my, I don't know if you can call it bad, but one of my bad things about the mashup when I reviewed it was in the helium technology with the rounder nose. They're super light, and if you surf them on any really hard offshore windy days, it might be a little bit harder to get into waves. I noticed that one of the days I was surfing it, it was a little bit harder. I thought, oh man, it's a 7.0 with a ton of volume. I'll be able to paddle in easy on everything. And I really wasn't. I had to kind of take off where I normally would on my shortboard, kind of under the lip, And then there were a couple waves that I just couldn't do that on that were really hollow and throwing really fast. And it would have been nice to get in early, but I couldn't. I don't know if it was my ability or the board, but other than that, that's the only bad thing that I have to say about this board. But that bad is also the good. With it being so light, carrying such a big board, it's easy getting in and out of the beach. If it's not super hard offshore, it's really nice having this really light board. And in really rippable conditions, it was also really nice being able to turn it. I think that's why it's also so easy to turn, is part of it is being so light. I would recommend this board to anyone. Beginner, I think it's a great beginner board. I think having a longer board teaches you the right fundamentals of surfing. And having that longer rail line will kind of help you down the line. But also when you need to, this board is super maneuverable and you can turn it. So I'd put this board beginner to pro. I mean, Taylor Jensen is an amazing surfer and he rides this. Kind of his mid-length, he's also a phenomenal longboarder, but when he steps onto a mid-length, this is his new model. So I think beginner to pro, I think that the wave range for this board is really anything that you can imagine. I think ankle high to overhead, this board will handle overhead hollow surf as well as it handles knee high rippable surf. And I really got to surf it in a majority of those conditions and loved it. So for sizing your TJ Twinzer, as you know, with Firewires, you can only go with the stock sizes. I was roughly a foot bigger than my everyday shortboard, so I would recommend going there. Advanced surfers, you can go a lot smaller. I think they make a 6'8", so that might be a better option for advanced surfers. The 7.0 is perfect for me, in that foot bigger than my shortboard range. And you can't really tweak the width and thickness on this, so the stock dimensions are the stock dimensions. But for being 7.0, I'm 180 pounds and it turned on a dime for me. Huge thank you to Aubrey Dilatouch, the Firewire rep, and huge thank you to Bearwires for getting us on these Firewires. You can pick this up at Bearwire Surf Shop when they drop, as well as all the other Firewire range. Check out Bearwire Surf Shop. Yeah, huge thank you to all of you for supporting. If you haven't already, tap down here and subscribe. I see a lot of you viewers out there are not subscribed. Thank you all currently who are subscribed. Thank you all for your support, continued support. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.